when it comes down to who are the real terrorists in America, that's one thing you can always count on. Americans, white Americans mainly, because you are the ones that make up the Senate and Congress, are the biggest ones to ignore all of the domestic terrorists that are white males and all of the violence they commit on American soil. You can always count on them to do that. Now, this hearing they did was hours after the shooting, and I want you to see what they focused on. All right. This is an article that came out on The Root on June 19th, and this was right after the shooting out on the baseball field. All right. Apparently, Senate Republicans don't believe white men are terrorists. These troglodytes. Hours after a white male opened fire on members of Congress, Senate Republicans hosted a hearing on violent extremism. Aside from the perfunctory mention of James T. Hodgkinson, Violent Extremists Act, that very morning, GOP members of the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs called on a number of Islamophobic experts to sidestep the one fact, a fact that numbers, researchers, and every law enforcement agency agree about who represents the most immediate terrorist threat in the U.S. White males. Boy, do I agree with that. Entitled Ideology and Terror, Understanding the Tool, Tactics, and Techniques of Violent Extremism. The Wednesday hearing opened with a statement by Senator Ron Johnson, Republican, Wisconsin, explained that the mission of the meeting was to enhance the economic and national security of America. Johnson added that the meeting's purpose was to address border security, cybersecurity, and infrastructure, and countering extremism. So ignoring the white male altogether after the shooting, ladies and gentlemen. Still won't admit this white devil is the problem. Johnson, ironically, noted that the only way you can solve a problem is to admit you have one. Really? Really? What a joke. Then proceeded to ignore what the New American Foundation's Homeland Security Program has called the United States' biggest threat. Guess what? Because it was the white man all in that report as the biggest threat. But of course, it got conveniently ignored once again. Because of their Senate and House majority, Republicans were allowed to choose 3 of the 4 witnesses who testified in front of the committee. According to the New Republic, despite objections from Democratic members on the panel, GOP leaders selected the following: Ayan Hisri Ali. Hissi, I guess that's Hirsi, I don't know, a vocal critic of Islam, whom the Southern Poverty Law Center labeled an anti-Muslim extremist. Ali has wrongly stated that Islam is responsible for 70% of the violence in the world. That is the biggest lie ever. Man, if you're not going to tell the truth, then what is the point in having these panels? Asra Nomani, an ardent supporter of President Donald Trump's travel ban. Nomani refuses to believe FBI statistics that show an increase in anti-Muslim hate crimes since Trump's election. And you're never going to resolve a problem if you don't admit white males are the problem. John Lekzowski, he blamed all of this on Barack Obama's refusal to say the words radical Islamic extremists as president. That's not going to resolve a damn thing, because white males are the ones outgunning everybody in the U.S., whether it's a citizen like the one out on that baseball field or your police. That's your problem right there. Those are your killers in the land. Ranking member Senator Claire McCaskill, Democrat, Missouri, insisted that the panel was overlooking the fact that the real danger comes from people who are Americans or are legally in this country who have been radicalized. We face threats from a range of sources, including white supremacists, eco-terrorists, ISIS sympathizers. There is a long list, but the panel concentrated on Islam, ISIS, or the Islamic State group, and the impending threat of Sharia law. There is no threat of Sharia law in the U.S. So even after a white man goes out and mass shoots, they still sit in these institutions in the government and ignore the fact that it's a white male doing all this stuff and keep focusing on Islam. Islam is not a threat to the black community. We are being shot down in the streets by radicalized race soldier terrorists who are white males. We are not getting shot down in the street by anybody from Islam. That's not a threat to the black community. It's not our immediate threat. The senators who swore an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, conveniently forgot the domestic part, along with the First Amendment guarantee of freedom of religion. They also managed to avoid the research by the Cato Institute that shows that the chance of being killed by a foreign-born terrorist is 1 in 3.6 million. The nationwide review by the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness that found that the attacks by race-bait extremists have more than doubled, with most attributed to white supremacists. The deadly 2017 attacks on Jeremy Christian, James Hodgkinson, Sean Urbanski, James Jackson, and Adam Puritan, all white men. The arrest of neo-Nazi Brandon Russell, who was found with bomb-making materials and who witnesses said was planning to bomb infrastructure. Congress' own Government Accountability Office, PDF, which reported fatalities resulting from attacks by far right-wing violent extremists, have exceeded those caused by radical Islamic violent extremists in 10 of the 15 years and were the same in 3 of the years since September 12, 2001. Wow. This is why nothing's ever going to get done. And don't hold your breath on them ever doing anything about cops or any other Caucasoid citizen that's violent out here. These people are in such denial. And they're the ones leading this country. Okay, you cannot count on the devil to punish his demons. It's just not going to happen. Maybe this has nothing to do with racism or Islamophobia. Perhaps the Republican senators do not want to upset their base by providing actual solutions. They might be afraid that their alt-right constituency will dismiss this as another attack on white males. Well, they deserve to be attacked. Look at their history. Maybe the reason the committee doesn't want to address reality that this country is endangered by white males willing to hurt Americans because of their political ideology stems from one simple fact. Every Republican member of the Homeland Security Commission is a white man willing to hurt America because of his political ideology. Isn't that ironic? Unbelievable. I'm not surprised. We can't be surprised. Devils will be devils, even when they're congressmen and senators. Please leave your comment and subscribe. And if you can donate to this channel, please do. And I want to thank all of you that have made donations. I really appreciate you. And I will continue to try to do my best every day and provide you with stories that are of interest. Now, I do realize there are emails that I was sent. I'm going to go through those emails today. And if there are anything good out there, I will bring out another story later on today. Again, if you can donate, please do. I love you, family. Peace.